The Winnipeg Home and Garden Show began today, something a lot of people will be excited about. One of the show's expert guests is a Winnipegger who's passionate about making homes green and comfy. Digital content creator Heather Barnes calls herself a deal finder, a do-it-yourselfer, and a van builder. Her Instagram account has more than 91,000 followers. CBC's Jim Agapito met up with her to get tips on beautifying your space.
We are at the Winnipeg Home and Garden Show at the RBC Convention Center, and I'm here joined with Heather Barnes, the lovely Heather Barnes, who will help you beautify your home. She's a digital content creator and beautifier extraordinaire. Heather, how are you doing today?
I am great. I'm really excited to get up on the main stage and share some plant care tips.
Okay, so I'm glad you're going to give us some tips. First things off, man's home is his castle, so I'm wondering, what are some tips that people can do to beautify their space?
So the first thing I would recommend is get easy plants. So for my top 3 plants would be a pothos, a zizi, and a snake plant. Those are the easiest plants to get into having plants in your home.
Okay, so I was scoping out your Instagram and I noticed you have a mixture of fake plants and real plants. Okay,
Yeah.
Which is better?
I don't think any are better per se. I think it has to do with like what you're willing, what kind of care, like time you have for plant care, what kind of home you have light-wise. I have southern exposure, so I can have real plants no problem. But if you live in an apartment with north-facing windows, or maybe you're in a basement suite, you might not be able to have as many real plants, so fake is a great option.
Okay, so I want to take, the outside and bring it in the home. You just talked about plants. How do I do that?
Well, first off, you start with easy plants,
Okay.
ZZ, snake, pothos, and then if you're really struggling, what I would recommend is buying a moisture meter. So those are on Amazon and Garden Center, whatever. If you're struggling with knowing how much water your plant needs, definitely grab a moisture meter. You can just stick it in the plant and it'll tell you exactly how much water you need to give your plant.
Okay, say I'm a little more of an intermediate advanced plant
Right.
person, okay? What are the plants that I should think about having in my home?
Okay, so if you've nailed ZZ plant, snake plant, pothos, then you can go up to like a monstera, a bird of paradise. I can actually see one here at the convention center. There's lots of plants everywhere for you to get inspired. A bird of paradise is a great one. And then if you're really feeling like you want a challenge, get a fiddle leaf fig, because they are kind of tricky, but very fulfilling if you are successful with them.
Do you have any of those?
No, I got rid of them. They're too tricky.
Oh! Okay, so with that being said, DIY tips. I know you're a DIYer, so DIY tips. What are your favorite DIY tips for the home?
Okay, so I started off where I was at. I started with a really easy project first, and I think that's the key. If you're going to start DIY, I wouldn't recommend a full bathroom renovation right off the hop. Start with something small, maybe paint an accent wall, update some trim in your home, and this build up from there. I started with a little kind of closet renovation, and just last year I renovated a bathroom. So you really just kind of build up on your skills and go from there.
Okay. Now budget-wise, right? Say you're on a budget. How do we keep ourselves in a budget to beautify the home? What are some tips?
So I am like a firm believer in making sure you have the money before you renovate. So save up. That way you're not breaking the bank, taking out loans, that kind of stuff. Lots of budget-friendly options to shop at. Home Depot has lots of great budget-friendly vanities, trim, stuff like that. Also, things like the Restore are great places to go, and then you can kind of get some used items and kind of beautify your home on a budget. Last thing, paint is the best thing to use. It's super cheap and it makes a big impact.
Tell the people about your blog and your Instagram. Where can people find you?
So my handle is Our Barnes Yard. I create content on Instagram and TikTok, and I just kind of created my channel over my maternity leave. I was feeling like I had this time on my hands, and I started sharing my projects, and people were really interested. And now, instead of teaching, I do content full time. So that's where I am on Our Barnes Yard every day. You can hang out there.
And when can people hear you tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm speaking at 3 o'clock, so I will see you on the main stage.
Thanks so much, Heather.
Thanks for having me.